Alright, welcome to round number 2. Unfortunately, when I tried to upload the file, I had it already and somehow it got corrupted. So now I had to go back a day later to actually bring up the replays again, and hopefully I'll remember most of this. Didn't recall it being that interesting of a game, simply because my opponent's deck wasn't very good. So our opening hand is pretty strong. The mana leaks usually just used to stop like turn 2 aggro starts like Garrick's Companion. So he played a Sylvan Ranger turn 2, and this is a key play of the game. The reason I countered it is like usually I don't really care about like turn, let's say turn 1 to Llanowar Elves, turn 2 Sylvan Rangers. Maybe I'll even let it cultivate through. Though cultivate's a bit tougher because they can ramp and fix their mana. I did, however, counter this spell. I thought about it for a while. The reason being is, first of all, well, like I really don't have any plays. Like the good cards usually come out on turn 4 and so, right? But starting on turn 4, I'll be curving out with the Crusader, Baneslayer, and whatever else I get. The second part is I noticed that he started off with 2 forests. Like players instinctively, usually when they're not too good, they play their first forest and then they'll play the second land of a different color. They would never like start off with a double forest if they, for example, they had like 4 forests and 1 swamp. Even then, they're just used to doing it, so they get more colors onto the table. So somehow I had a feeling that he only had forests at least in his hand. So I thought it was worthwhile to at least hold him off from his second color, especially if it's one with the removal. And I drew a bear, which I'm not going to wait for enchantment to play. If I can just curve out, maybe draw some removals. It really did pay off since he missed his land drop. And he missed it again, which is pretty much game over at that point. Like I wasn't about to like put down Armored Ascension on it, just because like the more threats I put on the table, the more behind he is. So if I play the Armored Ascension on the Priest, let's say if he just draws a Swamp, has 2 Doomblades in hand, he'll be able to pop that and then pop the Angel. Whereas if I play the Angel, I think I can get more damage through in the long run. And it's usually not like it's pointless to hold it back. I don't think he's gonna really play around it or sideboard like additional cards. I mean, I guess he could plummet, but if he has plummet, he would have decided in already just based on what he saw. So that was pretty straightforward. Don't really remember much of game 2. Once again, this is a pretty good opening. That's why I really like the Augury Owl. It helps you fix your turns 3, 4, and 5. I believe I kept all 3 of them on top. No, I kept the Baneslayer. This was one that keeps where I had to decide whether to keep the Baneslayer, or obviously I wasn't going to keep the Sarah and the Baneslayer because I needed the land, but I thought Baneslayer was strong enough that I could hold off until I get some lands, especially since I have Mana Leak in my hand. Like notice the mountain, usually when they're splashing for a mountain, it's almost always a fireball. The reason I attack with the Blinding Mage is once again I have a Mana Leak, or else I'll probably just hold it back and tap it end of turn, especially if I have a Ground Guide to get through next turn. So he plays Doomblade. I protect it with Unsummon. We don't get the land, but it's not like we're in any sort of pressure. What I regret about this game is just keeping the Harbor Serpent in my deck. I was trying to fix something with Camtasia and just pretty much didn't go through my deck card by card, or else that definitely would have been out. Probably for a negate. So based on I knew he had a pump spell, but it's better to get rid of it now rather than play the Baneslayer and suck it up the turn after, right? So I put the cancel after the Baneslayer because I figure like he probably doesn't have a removal at this point, so or else he probably would have used it on the Blinding Mage already. Next turn I'm gonna play the Baneslayer, and past that, like I could just ride it to victory. And the only thing I'm really concerned about is if he had a Fireball. I attack with the Blinding Mage. I know a lot of players at this point, they don't attack with it just because of that, but you're really just giving away yourself 1 damage, because even if he Alpha Strikes, there's no way you're throwing the Blinding Mage to block. And past that, now I have Cancel Mana to protect the Angel. There's really nothing he could do. I mean, his outs were like Fireball and Overwhelming Stampede, I guess, so the Flash Freeze is there for that. And wherever Dork he plays, that doesn't really impact the board. I'm not going to bother. Notice that I probably won't play the Scroll Thief. Yeah, so I didn't play the Scroll Thief, and because it really doesn't do much. I mean, like, sure, I'll trade 5 10-point swings for 3. Even now, I wouldn't play the Scroll Thief, just so that I can tap, leave Cancel, and leave Flash Freeze. There's very few spells right now that he could beat me with. Okay, Pack Leader, I believe I should Flash Freeze, yes. Just in case he gets runner, sort of like 3-powered dudes. Or if he was good, he'd probably hold back something like Sacred Wolf in his hand. So otherwise, yeah. So it's fairly straightforward. I don't think his deck was very good. Definitely probably splash a Fireball and a splash. He might have even sided in the Swamp for the Doomblade. So, okay. Thanks for watching round 2. Alright, so our finals opponent decided not to split, which sort of sucks. So we had to play it out. Now, unfortunately, Camtasia, or rather my computer crashed because it's a piece of crap. So we had to play it out. I had to stop it, and now I'm just showing you the replay since the games are quite good. He's playing mono black now. He starts with a turn 2 Nantuko Shade, which is pretty nuts, especially against my deck. Fortunately, we do have the Unsummon. I thought it was very good that he went all in on turn 3. Not saying it's a wrong play on his part, but it just buys us a lot of time. At this point, I was just hoping to draw fairly well, get a bunch of flyers out, and then play a Palace Guard, and pretty much trade swings and hopefully get there with something like Adept and an Owl, which I do get off of the 4C. So it's a fairly good scry, especially since turn 5 I get to use both the Owl and Adept. Here it gets interesting because he plays a second Banshee, so I thought I actually have a very good chance here, given that I'll stop it for a bit. Given that I do have 2 Adepts, and it favors me, especially since I'm getting in the 3 plus his 3, which is I'm trading pretty much 6 damage for 3. And off of the scry on the Owl, I think I put Baneslayer, Mana Leak, and another Owl in that order. I guess I could put the Leak and then the Baneslayer and the Owl. But it was sort of like a Mind Rot protection. If he Mind Rotted me this turn, next turn I'll just sort of have to drop the Baneslayer out. Whereas the other plan would have been to, on turn 6, play the Adept and the Palace Guard, and turn 7 play the Baneslayer Angel and use Mana Leak up as protection. Since given 6 cards, he's a bit stalled on mana. I'm fairly certain he'll have a Doomblade. Or something like Quag Sickness. So here there's no way he could play the Banshee again. So he plays a Black Knight. At this point, I'm pretty sure he has a Doomblade as well. And so I play the Baneslayer, leave up the Mana Leak, and it was a great call because, well, I countered it. Next turn, yeah, it was highly likely that he had another piece of removal. Fortunately, he didn't have the land, so I was able to push through for exactly enough. So this game was quite interesting. Like, the only way I could have really won it is if he played the Banshees, because it just quickened the clock a bit more. So a lot of things had to go right. My scries were really good too, and then he had to have stalled on that land and not had the second Doomblade. So game 2, we keep like a decent hand on the draw. Like there's no way I can maul that. Fortunately, we draw a Baneslayer. I mean, we've been getting it quite a bit this draft, and but I'm not one to complain. So we play the Scroll Thief. The point of the early game right now, I'm just trying to draw out as much removal as I can, and the targets are pretty good. Like he sort of has to use it on a Thief. Same with the Crusader. I was hoping to get Doomblade out here, but he plays a Spectre, which is fine. Plays a Shade, so it gets a bit rough. But unfortunately, I draw the Cloud Elemental. Originally, I was just gonna run out the Baneslayer. Didn't think I have enough time. But given that, I could play the Owl, fetch a land, and there was a Preordain and a Foresee, which is fine too. So next turn, I could play the Baneslayer and leave up Unsummon mana. It was unlikely for him to have 2 pieces of removal at this point. So he plays another Banshee, play the Baneslayer, and we're in good shape until he plays a Vest. That is a bit annoying. So he uses fetch. Obviously, it's a Doomblade, which well, it's obvious. I do have to get rid of the Vest, and I do have to put pressure on him. So I sent the Crusader, Owl, and the Cloud Elemental on the Vest to guarantee the kill. Deal 5 with the Baneslayer Angel. Like, I guess I could have let the Vest live and just start sending everybody there, but it seemed like a really bad idea, especially if he uses +1 counters or the next card he fetches is a Corrupt, which I'm pretty sure he has in his deck as well. So I had to play a Sarah Angel. He doesn't have the Corrupt, fortunately, so we blocked the Knight. And now this is really cool. He plays a Howling Banshee. And I have a clone, so I do it before I attack in case he blocks the Sarah Angel with a Banshee, and I finish him off. Like the games are really good. I probably drew a bit better than him. It's not to say like his draws were bad. So he got the net to go shade out both games. He had removal. I'm not quite sure how many corrupts he had. We passed 2 in the draft. Probably has at least 1, but I mean like. Yeah. Okay, so overall this was a good draft. Yeah, that would be an understatement. I got the Baneslayer on top of winning it. Not sure how much it's worth. Probably like 15-20 tickets these days. Either way, not sure if I'm gonna do this again since I don't think my computer is good enough. If someone wants to donate a video card, I might be more interested in doing these. Otherwise, thanks for watching.